why Yabushige smiled at Toranaga as he was committing seppuku? And do you know why Toranaga smiled back? If there's one scene that has been lingering in my mind since the finale of Shogun, it's definitely this scene. When I first watched the scene, I thought the two were smiling because they both realized that their journeys, all the years they worked together, good and bad, were finally over, so it was like a smile as a final goodbye. But after thinking on it a little more and actually going back to the previous episodes, I realized there's a deeper meaning behind their smile, actually more than one meaning. Let's talk about it. To understand the smile, we should be looking at their final words to each other. Before committing the seppuku, Yabushige realized that all this time, Toranaga really did want to become shogun in his secret heart. And Yabushige wanted to find out if his realization was actually true. Did Toranaga plan everything from the beginning? Yabushige asked his lord to tell him, promised that he would take what he heard to his grave. And Toranaga's response was, Now, this is an impressive response. I thought it was ironic how Yabushige wanted to be on the right side all this time, wanted to be in on the plan, but only came close to learning what it was when he was about to die. And Toranaga didn't want to give him that satisfaction. But this wasn't the first time we heard this line, and that's really important. Right in episode 1, the same line was told by Yabushige himself to his nephew Omi. When they are talking about whether to tell Toranaga about John Blackthorn's ship arriving into the country, Yabushige says he won't tell Toranaga anything because his exact words were, "Why tell a dead man the future?" Now, the final episode made numerous callbacks to previous episodes, and in all those instances, characters remembered what other characters had told them. Fuji remembered what Mariko had told her back in episode 1 about someone's hands being the last ones to hold a loved one. Uchiwa remembered what Mariko had told her about flowers being flowers only because they fall. So, Toranaga must have heard Yabushige saying, "Why tell a dead man the future?" The only way he could have heard it is through Omi. This reveals that even starting from episode 1, Omi was betraying Yabushige, reporting everything they talked about to Toranaga. That's why Toranaga knew that Yabushige would betray him. Or maybe Toranaga knew Yabushige would betray him from Yabushige's character and how he presented himself, but still, I believe Omi had to say the same phrase to Toranaga because their chances of saying the same phrase without having heard each other are slim to none. Or maybe it was this guy. We kept seeing him with Yabushige and Omi and he heard their conversations all the time. Maybe it was him who reported to Toranaga about what Yabushige had been planning. But I feel like Omi makes much more sense because Yabushige, knowing the person who betrayed him from the beginning would be his successor, would be a bigger blow on him. So I think it was Omi, but it's open to interpretation and we might never know. And let me come to the smile. Yabushige smiled first because he realized how Toranaga knew he was going to betray him from the beginning. When he first heard Toranaga's sentence, he didn't give a reaction, but he realized after the seppuku that it was the exact sentence he had told Omi. Toranaga basically revealed something that Yabushige thought was in confidence, which in turn showed that Yabushige's betrayals were a part of Toranaga's plan all along. But his smile wasn't that of surprise. It was the smile of a man who was truly impressed with his lord's mastery and his competent plan. In a way, he died happy because he realized all of his actions were not for nothing. His betrayals and even him causing the death of Mariko were not wasted actions. They would help Toranaga win the war and eventually become shogun. I think Yabushige died happy, not as an embarrassed man who died knowing he betrayed his lord, but as a man who believed his actions, although wrong, helped his lord anyway. And Toranaga smiling back at him was just confirmation of Yabushige's inner thoughts and realizations. I think Toranaga said that sentence to let Yabushige know that he knew about his betrayal from the very beginning. And when Yabushige turned to him with that smile, he only had to smile back to confirm. But of course, there are other meanings to it. For example, Yabushige's smile could have been sarcastic because Toranaga waited a while to cut Yabushige's head. It was like he was waiting a little for him to suffer longer. So Yabushige was like, "You're really dragging this, huh?" It could have been a sarcastic smile, and Toranaga's smile back could have been a confirmation of this. Yes, I'm making you suffer a little longer, which would show his satisfaction and strong ego. Another meaning of the smiles could be their mutual acknowledgement of the long game, how they both played this all along. Well, it would be more like Yabushige's acknowledgement of Toranaga's wind studying techniques and Toranaga just giving back an appreciative smile. One could argue Yabushige's smile could even be about him finally experiencing the moment of death, something he has been obsessing over since the start of the series. He has been gathering up a list of worst ways to die. Even in the finale, he didn't want to die a simple death. He wanted it to be like a show, a performance. I guess as someone who lost all his power, he wanted to at least control the way he died, but Toranaga didn't give him that satisfaction. In the finale, he might have smiled for finally experiencing what it's like to be dying. Perhaps a part of him was actually enjoying it. Who knows? What did you think of that exchange of smiles between Yabushige and Toranaga? Tell me in the comments below. By the way, I have made 2 videos about the real history behind the Shogun series. You should check them out. Don't forget to subscribe because I am planning on breaking down more TV shows. See you soon.